What you are now going to see is the first of what we hope to be many Farsight board meetings recorded live. Now, this particular board meeting is not about the governance of the Farsight Institute, which is a non-profit formerly named Farsight Research, Inc. Rather, this is a board meeting among the remote viewers involved in creating content for FarsightPrime.com, which is Farsight Inc., a media company that is totally dedicated to the end of secrecy, disclosure, using a very novel information gathering process known as remote viewing. Now, we are meeting with a group of extraterrestrials who have been assisting us at Farsight for a very long time. In January of 2022, we decided to be totally open about this contact. Now, you can introduce yourself to people only once, and we did not want others to define us in the public's mind. The UFO, UAP disclosure movement is gaining steam slowly but surely. Finally, people are getting past the idiotic question of whether or not we are alone in the universe, and people are starting to ask what the extraterrestrials have been doing all this time. Well, if you follow any of our stuff at Farsight, you know that we have long described a situation in which there are good ETs and bad ETs. Now, the U.S. government has written agreements with the bad ETs to obtain technological assistant reverse engineering crashed UFOs. The government wants weapons assistance mostly, and secrecy is an explicitly stipulated part of those written agreements, which is why the government is so resistant to being open about the extraterrestrial presence on this planet. Now, this planet is being run as a prison by the bad ETs, who are highly manipulative of human governmental leadership. The prison will collapse if full disclosure happens. It is a psychological prison. The good ETs want the end of secrecy. The extraterrestrials who we have long worked with are the good ETs. They want to break down the prison by forcing disclosure to happen. But how that happens is very delicate. There is currently a Cold War between the good ETs and the bad ETs. They cannot just start shooting at one another without that Cold War turning into a hot war. The only way a hot war can turn in favor of the good ETs is if humanity is on the side of the good ETs. And that requires full disclosure. Full disclosure. If you can accept the fact that the UAPs or UFOs are real, then it should be easy to accept the fact that both groups of extraterrestrials have been active working with people on Earth. Now, the bad ETs have been working with much but not all of the U.S. military. And evidence of this is the now accepted fact of there being a UFO craft retrieval program within the U.S. military. Well, the good ETs have been shut out of formally working with the U.S. government, so they have been working with people, just regular people, to help support disclosure. Not disclosure in the distant future, but disclosure right now. Right now. Farsight has long been part of those efforts. Now, everyone at Farsight are normal humans living normal human lives. We believe in free will, and we hope you make the free will choice to watch what we do and to participate in the overall disclosure process. We honestly do not like secrecy. Secrecy is the brick and mortar of the prison that binds humanity. It binds all of you. Disclosure is the water that dissolves the walls of that prison. Now, it took us at Farsight a great many years to be able to have conversations with the extraterrestrials. Nearly all extraterrestrials communicate telepathically. That is the normal way of communicating in the galaxy. When you're good at it, it is easy to understand what people are thinking. These conversations that you will now witness are fascinating on many levels, and one of those levels is to see how Farsight members reach out and translate those telepathic communications into verbal language. That is probably the most important lesson to be drawn from watching these meetings. Also, invisibility is a thing with all extraterrestrial contact. Visibility among the extraterrestrials, especially among the good ETs, produces an immediate military response. We can have these meetings without risking a military response only because the extraterrestrials themselves remain invisible to the naked human eye. As with telepathy, it also took many years for Farsight members to be able to see or perceive these extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials themselves would love to flick a switch and be fully visible to the naked human eye, but that will have to wait until later, when the disclosure process is more developed and the risk of military responses is not so great. We are not asking you to believe us. What you choose to believe is totally up to you. We are only wanting to show you what we do and how we get advice. Then you can decide for yourself what you want to do with that knowledge. Nearly everything that you will see and hear in this Farsight board meeting involves Farsight members listening to the thoughts of the extraterrestrials and then translating those thoughts into verbal language. So let's begin. This Farsight board meeting was held in August 2024. We hope to make these recorded meetings a monthly event and to share them with you. This is crunch time in this world today, and you can see much of this even though the mainstream media is withholding a great deal of information from you. The good ETs suggested that we record these meetings. It took a lot on all sides for us to be able to give you this. On a personal note, I hope you appreciate the efforts. This is an auspicious moment, historical in a very real sense, and that they appreciate all of the preparations that have gone into making this in terms of every single person. The preparations have not just been physical preparations for the meeting, but the preparations of years of work for you to be able to be at this point where you can perceive them and you can understand them. And this is the point of showing humanity what life should be like, and like it is elsewhere in the galaxy, and that we are really making a pioneering effort to show as an example for open communication. And that they definitely want open and full communication now. This whole idea of being, they don't want me to go there, but they do not want this to be delayed any longer. They want open communication as quickly as possible on all levels, from governmental levels all the way down to the common people of everywhere. Everyone is equal, be it a governmental leader or just a person on the street. There is nobody who's better than anybody else, and they want to be able to talk with and to absolutely everybody, no exceptions. All right. Okay, that's good. All right. What else? At this point, they want to open the discussions up to things that people at Farsight, they are very appreciative to be working with everyone here at Farsight. You've worked for years to be able to get to this point, and that everyone, the entire galaxy basically has been waiting for you to be able to get to this point, to be able to do this. And it's been a huge undertaking, expanding, going beyond your physical lives, in fact, going way beyond that, going thousands of years, I guess hundreds of years in the past, and we're getting to the point where this can actually happen. And so they're very appreciative of each and every one of you who are in the room right now, and all of the audience members who are watching via the cameras. Okay, and next. They're laughing. Yeah, I am a little nervous. They're pointing at me that I'm a little nervous, they're saying. Okay, there is one person is a male, one is a female, and they're both representatives of the ET group that we work with, and that they are, okay, I'm sorry, she has a sense of humor that's sending me off a little. Anyway, they're very happy to be here.
Trying to figure out why you're so nervous when you do this all the time.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm a little nervous now, but I'm a little nervous now. They're thinking it's funny. Okay, so can I, yeah, they want me to be quiet now and for you to ask anything. They would really like it if today's first board meeting is driven by things that you want to ask them and talk about, and they will respond. Wow. And the responses can be, I don't have to be the translator for everything. Others, as you pick, you can voice, your disagreements with my translation, or you can translate yourself. Go ahead.
How about I'll just start with a question.
You go ahead.
So, we've all been expressing interest in getting better, clearer perceptions when it comes to remote viewing and just being online, so to speak, in terms of our psychic abilities altogether. So my general question to you both is, how do we get better?
Keep practicing. Continue to open your minds, continue to open your space, continue to work together as teams. You need to be able to work in close settings. This is a good start. Once you are capable of doing this with other beings, you should be capable of doing this with yourselves. However, because these things are physical beings that are in front of you, you seem to have a disconnect of what that means. You seem to have a disconnect of how that transmutes to the telepathy use of physical humans. It is the same. It is the same. So the same way that you all are sitting here and that you all have your conversations with your other beings and in your sessions, you should be able to tune in and tap in to each other's minds. It's just like a deep mind probe.
Yeah, fluency comes from practice, I get as well. Yeah, fluency comes from practice.
I'm also getting a sense of that they're helping from the outside in to dismantle these kind of like the cage that has been placed over us. I'm getting a sense that while we're practicing and working towards this solidifying these powers, right, that they're also working on the outside in to help dismantle the blocks, the ceiling that ceiling that's been placed. So as we're working internally, they're working externally, and that hopefully these two things will meet in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's, I'm also getting a sense of, in terms of these blocks sort of things, kind of like the field of epigenetics, I get a sense of our behaviors actually affect the way our genes behave as we go through time, and the more that we do these things, the more that we engage in this thing as like sort of a way of life, not like a party trick, but like an actual way of life. This is what we do every single day. I hear as common as getting your coffee in the morning type of sense. That's something that actually does have a real deep effect on the way our bodies are structured.
And it'll start to come through in your children. It'll start to come through in the people around you. I keep hearing, when you said that, Aziz, I kept hearing that it's in your blood. It's like I kept hearing.
I heard the thing about the children too.
Yeah. I kept hearing that it'll start to show in the little people around you and even in your animals. But the animals are a different frequency. You just have to tap into it. And so, like you said, as common as waking up in the morning and meditating, moving, shifting. Yes, your genetic makeup, you can change your cells just by speaking. So you can shift and change how you hear and how you speak. Once that becomes your normal, it then can get passed on generation to generation and become a new world.
Hey, going off the shifting thing, I also get a sense of you can kind of force this type of thing to happen more extremely based on how, I guess, aggressively you sort of jump in the driver's seat of your own life and change your behaviors. Changing your behaviors is the biggest thing. It's the more gradual it seems, the more passive you're sort of allowing the process, and the more intensely you try to change your habits, the more results that you'll see as you pursue this type of stuff.
Yeah. he says this is a very big topic. It's very broad. There's so many answers to this question. Not just for the people of Farsight, but for everyone, for all the Earth humans. You know, you all can shift and, as Aziz said, jump into the driver's seat and regain control of your mind, taking it back from those that took it from you.
You know, I also get a sense that there's a big sense of being an example to other people, but it's something that's not just. I mean, I guess I phrased the question as how do we get better, but you know, we're in a sense just trying. We're just the ones on the screen being an example, and I get the sense that if us being an example for others, then it's really something that other people can do just as easily, just as much, and even more so than what we're able to do at the moment. So it's sort of a call for everybody to get into the driver's seat and take advantage of this change. Be the wave.
Yeah.
I have a question. How big does this have to be in terms of planetary impact? The New Age community is so small. How big does this have to be, what we're talking about now?
I'm getting the sense that it's larger than we think, that there's what we see as the New Age community sort of bleeds into a lot of other people and a lot of other ways of life, and it's just not as apparent. I also get the sense that there's a bit of a kind of like the 100th monkey effect sort of thing. There's like a bit of a when a mind shift starts in a significant number of people, it ripples out. I got a visual of like this rippling motion out. You're making the hand motion of the visual that I was thinking of. So
yeah,
a rising tide.
I'm picking up the exact same thing.
A rising tide raises all boats, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
I got to use that sentence more often.
I like that.
That's good.
Yeah, it's going to be a ripple effect, especially. And while the New Age community may be small, it is getting bigger, especially with this heavy disclosure movement pulling into all the communities, especially with this group here being younger, able to grab and gather the younger community.
I get the feeling of ecos. Oh, I heard a beep. Well, I get the feeling of ecosystems, and the digital space is kind of like an ecosystem. But if they're the only ones creating and dominating the digital space, then that's really then we're just stuck in their jungle.
Exactly.
But if we start creating and modifying the digital space to have creations that are conducive towards this, I guess we would just call a non-addictive, enlightened behavior, then the digital space would seem quite friendly. I heard the sentence friendly in that regard. I would also say that we're simplifying with the words young people and old people, but the cube of mental enslavement can happen incredibly quickly. That can happen just from the environment we're living in. You can find somebody in high school who's been completely mentally boxed in and just does not have an open mind at all. It's we use the word old people and young people rather loosely here, but it's the enslavement process is designed to happen pretty much around like elementary school, I'd say. I mean, it's a pretty quick process, but it's subjective towards environments, whatever environment somebody's in. Anyway, that's
lead by example. If you unplug or utilize the technology to amplify your ability, it's just like a game. Have you ever played? Have you ever seen? Did you see this reel? Did you see this meme? Now it can shift to the more of us that are, did you know that you can perceive what you're going to see next on your phone? Did you know That being a thing, making a game out of it, because people like to play. And so if you play into their interests, what they're already having, it's like redirection and moving by example. Monkey see, monkey do. And there creates your ripple effect.
There's also the sense that they depend on the technology as well, meaning this could not have been done 40 years ago. You could not have had the revolution, the change, the mind shift without the phones. So the young people being addicted to the phones is not the problem that a lot of people look at, especially older people look at and say, young people have their face in the phone, that's not bad. That's a bad thing, they say. But the reality is, the face in the phone actually is a window to information that they can get that they cannot get from mainstream sources. They're not going to get it from teachers. They're not going to get it from mainstream news. They have to get it from alternative sources. And without the internet right now and without the phones, this entire thing of freeing the entire planet couldn't be done. So it's got both the limitation of how do you get people to look at something different, but also at least they have the capability of looking at something different. That's also one of the reasons why it's so important for everyone here at Farsight to be people who know how to work with the phones, attractive people that like using Instagram, that like using pictures, because then you're not alien to that means of communication that literally the world depends on everywhere. And so they understand the problem, but the sort of the psychological issue that you're raising is got a plus and a minus. And on the plus side, without the technology, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, becoming a non-technological society just doesn't seem like an option.
Yeah.
How do we utilize the technology and to get the minds of our people to look at something different? We have our shorts that are distracting us. You know what I'm trying to say?
They're ruining the attention span.
Thank you. That are ruining the attention span of being able to look or do something for more than 30 seconds to 60 seconds at a time. So how do we take that and regenerate what we're looking at and how long we're looking at it? Does that time span actually help us to engage quicker, or does it help us to lose track quicker? And then how do we as a community encourage something different to be used with those methods?
It's interesting. There's a sense that older people are going to be a tremendous asset in helping to teach younger people to keep their mind focused for longer periods of time. So it goes both ways.
I would say that
Younger
too.
people are going to be ones who are going to be investing in the knowledge and throwing out the skepticism. But on the other hand, the attention span is going to be something that the older people are going to have to teach the younger people. I remember in Africa, I'm sorry, can I talk? Oh, yeah, they said it's okay. In Africa, the older people are called wazee. And when the younger people have troubles with the marriages or with the troubles, they go to the wazee, they go to the older people and say, and in order to get these things resolved, and the older people then guide the younger people on how to keep the marriages together, how to keep things together, how to resolve disputes. And older people are going to be able to give this guidance. So it's a two-way thing. The younger people are going to be reintroducing some of this information, and that will be eventually picked up by the older people with the help of the revolutionary power of the younger people. And then the older people are going to have to go to the younger people and say, calm down. Keep your attention span focused on this thing. So the revolution cannot happen from just younger people. It has to be matured, fermented, grown into something solid from the help of the older people. So the combination of older and younger has to work together.
I think that's exactly right. In fact, actually, that reminds me of, this isn't a telepathic perception. This is just something that I lived through. I was reading, and I was making a big effort to start reading for fun, and just like actually have paper books in front of me and read for fun. And I remember I went to a bunch of my friends and I asked them, hey, do you guys read for fun? I know it's a weird question, and nobody did it. And it's I asked about 10, 14 people. Nobody read for fun. It was I mean, I got the obvious answers of like, audiobooks sometimes or podcasts and stuff like that. But picking up a book and reading it, not mandatorily, but just because you wanted to have fun, it was just something that doesn't happen. And I don't do it all that often. I mean, but I was making a big attempt to try to do it, and it was because of older people in my community that I knew did read for fun that I wanted to start doing that. I thought, like, there's something there. Maybe I should start reading for fun. So it's I definitely think there's a feedback loop. There's a bit of a feedback loop in terms of the human experience between generations that is incredibly positive and should be taken advantage of because of the attack vectors of the prison planet, the prison matrix. They attack one end, and they usually doesn't apply if you look at it doesn't apply to the entire population if you look across demographics. So that's what I would say.
I'm also seeing, even with the importance of all the information that we do have access to through social media and our newer technologies, it's still very important to actually do something with the information, like watching or even reading. Just acquiring more and more information is great, but you still have to do something, whether that's practicing like mental or physical exercises. You still have to continue to be active with your information. So
I get a big agreement sense with that as well. I think that's a big good point. Can we ask somebody else? Can somebody else ask a solid, clear question of another variety? Just because I think it would help up clearing the psychic space, so to speak, in terms of all of our conversations so far. I think we've covered a good amount of this.
I was actually feeling the same thing. I'd like to ask about, is it okay? Yeah. I'd like to ask about politics. The world seems to be coming apart. We have the elections going on in the United States. The situation in Russia and Ukraine seems to be getting worse and worse. The situation in the Middle East seems to be getting worse and worse, and now there's more discussions that something may happen between China and Taiwan. So it really looks like we're heading towards some type of World War III situation, and with serious. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what is the role that Farsight's supposed to have with regard to all of that stuff? Okay. The world is coming apart. It is not a thing. Aziz was told the other day, stay out of it. And in one sense, that's correct. We're supposed to not get involved. We're not supposed to be the ones who go out and, have signs and pickets and things like that. We're supposed to just do what we do. And
in a sense of foreshadowing.
Go ahead.
Well. I just get I'm picking up just the word foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Keep moving in the future tense. As you pick up on deep news, allowing a time cross for the deep news so that it is published before it happens. Documenting these movements is what's going to allow the foreshadow of things. Being able to communicate with the people about what is going on in a more truthful and in-depth way, something that is not pre-written or assumed by the news. It will soon get out. The time is coming near where we will have to, where people will be looking, you used to say this, where people will be looking to us for the answers. And so we need to stay stationary and in this space and do continue to move in that foreshadowing sense of what is to come politically, so that we can guide the people of this world into the next phase.
I see. So am I correct in picking up that we stay stationary, keep doing what we're doing, and that the world will come to us?
You
Yeah.
will also need to consider going off of the grid. You should also consider moving away from large cities. You should also consider being able to find ways to record or document your data with as little battery power as possible.
Actually, we've all been thinking along those lines as well, being able to be mobile in what we do. How big an issue is that for mobile?
Very big.
Yeah, I'm picking that up like they're hammering it.
And
Yeah.
it needs to happen soon. You need to put things in place for your girls. Put things in place to make it easier for them to exist. Put things in place to make it so that Farsight is sustainable in a way where there are no worries or friction, where there is no friction, so that you can focus on the task at hand. Distraction is what makes it so that your abilities move. What is this word?
Fluctuate?
Yes, fluctuates. You want to stay in a higher vibration in order to be able to give the world the truth. But you are also going to need to severely move off grid. You cannot be in the midst of the depths of the chaos that is about to happen.
That's interesting.
I also get the sense that there's a bit of an interplay between, you know how you go fishing? This is the best way I can describe the image. You know how you go fishing, you put a lure on a bait, and then you just yank the fish out of the water? I get the sense that that's kind of a similar mechanic to how a lot of the troubles are planning on happening, except it's emotion that really is the yanking experience that yanks the person into uncomfortable territory where they can't breathe. And it's we commonly just say emotional triggers that you'd find out there, but it's a really, if you have a calm and stable emotion, which I guess was, and correct me if I'm wrong, it would be one of the biggest advantageous positions that you could have with just meditating regularly. It allows you to sort of look at your emotions as a third-party phenomena, that it's like, I know I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, I'm the awareness, and I'm observing these things. And when you see those emotional triggers that the world is going to throw at you, you're not getting caught up in them and then yanked by the fisherman, which I guess the big brother, I guess you could say, is, or the powers that be, is the fisherman trying to yank all the fish over into one sort of pond where a lot of chaos could be going on. I also get the sense that in terms of the off-grid and movement sort of phenomena, we're all humans first and foremost. And knowing that you're a citizen of Earth before your other geopolitical boundaries come into play is also a healthy mind state. It sort of keeps you out of those easy emotional triggers that bring you into mind states of hatred and revenge that are potent, to say the least. So.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that this does not mean to be non-technological.
No.
Because we have to use the technology in order to stay connected, even when we move out of major cities and things like that.
Yeah.
Also we're going to have to, I get the sense is it's not so much staying out of the major cities, but staying out of the centers of chaos.
I think I get a strong sense that this is a very mental thing. It's you can, if you're strong enough, you could be sort of like in the eye of a hurricane, so to speak. But it's
Yeah, so staying off the grid is a mental staying off the grid as much as it is
physical.
But you don't want to go down where the riots are. You want to stay away from the physical stuff, but that doesn't mean we can't go to cities and get things done. And
I get the sense it's like, it's not, there's not like, participate in humanity, you should participate in it. Like we're humans.
Absolutely.
It's silly not to. I don't think we're
It
supposed
is
to.
not to be said to hide away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is to be said that there will be a time where everyone is going to need to move swiftly away from something big that is happening. And because of the broadness of this company and the people it affects, you have to be able to pick up what you have and go.
Yeah, I also get a sense that the passivity of the slave system that people sort of get lulled into, and not just you mentioned the word riots earlier, and so I'm just picking off that the passivity that the slave system sort of tries to drag people into to make them, I guess, submissive and obedient and not shake the box, so to speak, is just as dangerous of a place to be as in the most chaotic and violent riots. It's a clear mind is the only way to move forward without stepping in a minefield.
Yeah, we're clearly not passive,
Yeah.
but we're not involved in the physical activities of the political change and in the sense of, where the congregations are and things like that.
I feel like I sit on the couch too much.
Yeah. Kamaya, would you like to say something?
I want to say that I feel like a lot of this is a personal thing as well. You can sit around all day and listen to what we have to say, but you really got to go out there and experience a lot of that for yourself. And that's something that's really big for me in my remote viewing journey, is just that we are connected, but also you have to be able to do your own thing. And that's kind of what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of talking, but I feel a lot more than I hear talking, if that makes sense. Words are just a way for us to verbally communicate, but the mental communication is deeper than that. And so I'm more I feel everything that people are saying more than I can hear what they're saying. I think that's important for all of us to do as well.
That's a big thing. Yeah, experiential understanding is the only way that anybody can truly get to the next level. You can read a book about surfing, but that doesn't mean you know how to surf when you get in the water. But
Right.
Yeah. I'd like to ask, this is being broadcast worldwide, of course. Is there anything you'd like us to be translators for, where you'd like to speak not necessarily to us, but to the world audience, so that you can say it and then all of us can try to chime in to translate what you're saying? So this is sort of an open mic experience. Would you like to say something to the internet audience? Anyone feel free to chime in with what they're saying. This whole thing is designed for the wider audience, that they're a part just as much as we're a part. It's not like I have it wrong. It's not like they have a message and we're to translate their message, but that we're all together. I have it totally wrong. It's not like they want to say something and then we're supposed to translate it for the world audience. What they want to tell us is that they're the same as us, that we are all the same, and that the world audience is them, and that they know the world audience on a personal level, and they're trying to get them back. Friends, family, relatives, the whole world audience is part of them, that they're not separated. And what I'm getting the sense of, that they want this to be the beginning of a long-term situation where people will be communicating with them. They want to be able to have these communications with them directly. Go ahead.
You know, I think just to go off what you just said, and I've been trying to perceive what they were saying in response to the question that you just asked them, and I got this energy of sort of going around, and this is like a global thing, and then you described a lot of that in your own words, and I think this really goes back to what Kamaya was saying. I think, and I'm just trying to get my sea legs right now with this telepathy stuff. I mean, it's like I feel like we're all just trying to make sure that we're newish to this type of thing. This is the first time we've done a segment like this. But Kamaya, you said that a lot of this is very a personal experience, and you said that you can feel these things more, and I think that is dead on. I think that when I'm trying to say what I'm experiencing, what this telepathic conversation is like, I think one of the most baseline understandings of what the telepathy is like is this emotion, this like feeling. It's maybe deeper than maybe just the word emotion is a little shallow, but it's a feeling. It's like I'm feeling this energy of a concept, and then I'm like putting this through this whole like mathematical function that my brain creates to say, okay, now how do I say that in English and put it through a mic? And it's just I feel like I'm desperately trying not to dilute and put my own personal flavor into that sort of thing. And I can tell when you guys are all speaking, I can say like, oh, I'm sensing the same type of thing that they're saying, but I didn't word it that way in my head. But I can feel the kernel that was like, it's like popcorn. It all looks like the same kernel, but when it pops, it's all these different shapes. And I'm just getting that sense as well. It's just something, a phenomena of the telepathic experience that I wanted to talk about, because I think you really hit the nail on the head, Kamaya, when you mentioned the personal experiential understanding. And I would actually challenge a lot of the people watching this to, in their own communities, even with their friends, if you're watching this video with just another person, take a moment and try to engage in some sort of telepathic communication with each other, and do it in a way where you can sort of be open to the idea that there's this like undercurrent that is easily flows between minds. And then when we try to like extrapolate that out to English, there is so many layers that goes through before it gets to English, and then I say it. Yeah. So anyway, I'll stop it right there.
No, it's right on the nose. It's hard, but
that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Right.
I spent a lot of the podcast listening to everybody. It's like I could hear y'all, but I just felt more than I could hear. I'm trying to listen to y'all, but I'm feeling it more than I'm listening to it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's actually
and you threw that current out, which is why I think Courtney felt it too, because as soon as I stared at you, he was like, Kamaya, you have something to say. And it was yelling, but it wasn't a sound. It was yelling, I have something to say. I'm hearing something. And I'm like, Kamaya has something to say.
Yeah, I had a strong feeling that Kamaya was holding something and had something to say. You know, I'm going to have to wrap it up at this point, because the batteries on that machine are blinking.
Oh, no problem. Well, we spoke for quite a bit.
We can sort of say last few comments, but I'm afraid I don't want anything to. Yeah.
I'll make one last comment. Going off this emotional thing, because I wasn't going to mention this because I didn't think it applied, but it does apply now that we're talking about this emotional undercurrent between the conversation. I was at the grocery store. I went to Publix, and when I was at the grocery store, I was in the car, and I immediately started thinking about this person that I knew from high school, and I was just completely out of the blue. I just started thinking about them, and my mind immediately went into my conscious mind understanding of that person. The kernel, the actual psychic perception, the subspace mind, gave me just the awareness. That was the concept, the telepathic concept, the awareness of this person. And then I immediately extrapolated that out with the conscious mind, basically needing and playing with the data. And the only way it could play with the data was what my conscious mind was aware of this person. They have a lot of animals. They like to feed animals and stuff like that. And then, lo and behold, as soon as I'm checking out, I see that person from high school walking right into the grocery store as I'm walking out. And I immediately called out to them. I was like, whoa. And then they told me about some animals and stuff like that. And then I left. But in my head, I was thinking like, well, isn't that the darndest thing?
It happened to me before. I was thinking about a photo shoot, and I was like, I haven't had any photo shoots in a while. And then I look up, and I'm like, this guy looks kind of like Todd. And I went back to minding my business. Todd, you know Todd, right? And I went back to minding my business, and I go grocery shopping, and I come back, and then he looks at me, and he was like staring at me, and I'm like, this guy that looks like Todd is staring at me. And then, and the next thing you know, he says my name, and I'm like, oh, it is Todd. And then he goes, hey, you want to do a photo shoot? And I'm like, I was just thinking about that.
What are the odds? Yeah, I think we can all attest to very, very similar experiences.
There's something there. There's something remote viewing related that's there with that undercurrent of just being aware of something, of a concept, and then the conscious mind takes it over and just says, like, applies all the conscious mind jargon to it. So.
Intellect does it all the time. All of our mutual friends go, she just knows things. She always calls at the right time.
Before our batteries go out, I want to thank everybody for being here, everyone here at Farsight, for our guests. They're not really guests. They've been with us forever. But I want to thank everybody for being here. And am I correct? Can I say that this is a regular thing that we're going to be? Yes, it's going to be. They are adamant. This has got to be a regular monthly board meeting. Yeah, we got it. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you all.
It's a practice meeting, practicing telepathy meeting. It was great.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Until next time.